Hey, friends. Welcome back to another Timonspodcast. I'm your host, Timon, and this is my podcast, Cool Conversations with Cool People. And man, do I got a great conversation for us here today. But before we get to that, let's do some business. First, I'm on YouTube. Check me out, Timonspodcast on YouTube. If you've listened before and you enjoyed, make sure to give a comment or a review or subscribe, all those fun things. I appreciate that. Also, I've got a sponsor. Today's sponsor is Quiet River Massage and Revival, located in Syracuse, Indiana. Jasmine has the best massages out there. She will make you chill and relaxed. She does hot rocks and essential oils, 90, 60, 30-minute massages. Go check her out, Quiet River Massage and Revival. Links are below in the comments of the video, whether it's on YouTube or if you're listening on the podcast, you can go and check it out. Follow her Instagram, leave her a comment or a review if you've had a massage by her. Helps her in the Google rankings. So with that over, let's talk about today's guest. I sat down with the one and only Adrian Riley. We talked about his life story, about the different things that he's gone through, and where he's at today. And man, it was a really cool just to hear how God's moved in his life and the things that he's learning and doing. And I don't want to spoil the conversation. It's a riveting convo. So once you start, you'll listen to it all in one take, hopefully, but I loved it. So thank you so much, Adrian, for coming on. And guys, you're going to love this. So for sure, check this out. And we're live.
All right.
Awesome. Adrian, man, thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure.
Yeah, it was good. When I saw you downtown Goshen, I don't know, that was like a week ago or something. We were walking down, or maybe 2 weeks ago. I'm like, I need to talk to you. I've been thinking that for a while too. So it's something I've been thinking about, but then you just get caught up in life and then you just okay. And it was fun that one time we went mountain biking. You remember that?
Yeah, I'll tell people about that all the time. I was like, ooh.
Have you gone mountain biking since?
No. Now, what's crazy, I have a bike shop now.
Really?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah.
Where's it at?
It's next to Prayer Street Mennonite Church.
Okay.
So when we got the office, I was telling you before we got on here.
Yeah.
The condition was just like, hey, would you guys like to run a bike shop? Like, I don't know anything about bikes. It's like, but we need some. And I said, you know what? Because of the deal they gave us so sweet. I said, yeah, we'll figure it out. So we went in there, cleaned it up, organized it, and
off to the races.
So everything is free. So we will get bike mechanics, volunteers. So people come there and they had their bikes fixed. It was totally free. We give away bikes, helmets. It's called Ray Southside Bike Shop, which is my nephew's nickname is Ray.
Oh,
Ray,
wow.
Ray. So I designed the shirts, and we gave out shirts and
that's awesome.
So
if I have old bikes or bike parts that I need to get rid of, come to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ray's Southside Bike Shop. That's so cool. Do you have a lot of mountain cheers?
Cheers. Yeah.
Do you have a lot of...
Gene, my mama, drink might be. Well, I used to.
I felt so bad. I was like, that's all I have is this. It's basically water. It really is.
Yeah, I remember that taste too.
Yeah.
Mama, could I taste your beer?
Yeah. That's what it was. That's hilarious. Yeah. Well, let's start out with just tell the people who you are and where you're from, and then we can go from there.
All right. Well, Adrian Riley, a.k.a. Bullet. I won't get into why that nickname on here, but it's an interesting story, actually.
Yeah.
I might tell it. We'll see.
Okay.
It's really short. But so, born and raised here, lived multiple places in Elkhart, south side, north side, east side, whatever. We moved around a lot as kids. And then that's when I was living with my mom. So moved with my father. He stayed out in Bago area, so I ended up going to Jimtown. And to be honest, that's the first time I heard of Jimtown. I'm like, where am I going to school? Jimtown. Okay. So, which I love the school. It was great. But that first year, I had to educate people on not to mess with me. So, and somebody did one of them pranks where they pulled a chair out and you sit and hit the ground.
Right.
And I jumped up and kicked him in the face. Right in the
You taught him right then.
Yeah, like it was just, I wasn't mad at nothing. They just jumped up, kicked him. They sent me to the principal's office. And he was like, "What happened?" And I told him. He said, "Oh, okay, you can go back to class."
Good. Yeah.
So it ain't now. You'll catch a charge nowadays.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, they understood. They was like, "Yeah, just go back to class," and it was good after that. So from there, just I played sports. Like so, this is gonna sound weird. So played basketball, play a little football, but Gymtown is nuts with football. So
Yeah.
I'm not practicing all summer. I'll just because they really good, like especially back then.
Like 3 a days.
Yeah, and all that. Like, you forget that. I'm not doing that. So
Yeah.
I played basketball and I did a little track.
Okay.
But my actual favorite sport was gymnastics.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So of course they didn't have that. So
Yeah.
I did it at the YMCA when I was younger and competed.
Like flips and somersaults.
Parallel bars.
Oh, wow.
And you have the high bar, pommel horse, all that stuff. Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
That's so cool.
So I stopped tumbling when I was 40.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because it was like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Why even continue?
I'm sure it keeps you limber, though, like the
yeah.
stretching and it's exercise, too.
Yeah, I'm pretty limber still, but not gymnastics limber.
Yeah.
I don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
So, and even during that time, I took some martial arts. So my dad took the old Brazilian jiu-jitsu, Gracie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I learned some of that in Okinawan karate.
Oh, wow.
And stuff over the years, like with my dad and his friend. So she's I don't know what degree she is now, maybe 9th degree or somewhere around there.
Wow.
Like so
the Gracie stuff is like everyone's into that right now. Did they level it up or was it different?
It was more ground fighting.
Okay.
Which is cool. I mean, it's very effective because I learned that as well, but you have to be careful with that in street fighting, like in the hood.
Yeah.
So to speak.
Yeah.
I've seen people get stumped like grapes.
Yeah. I was going to say, if you're on the ground with someone and then someone else comes up, you're in trouble.
Like if it's 1-on-1, it's cool.
Yeah.
Or maybe even 2-on-1. But a lot of settings I was in younger that you didn't know who you was fighting sometimes.
Right.
It'll be a group of people and people getting stomped and hit with shit. Or it's just basically a brawl.
Right.
So yeah, you don't want to stay on the ground.
Yeah, all out. Who knows what? Yeah, it's to win, really. It doesn't matter what. There's no rules.
Yeah, I remember fighting to get out of the fight. Like, because it's just the fight breaks out and you don't know what's happening. So you got to, the car's over there. So we got to fight our way to the car.
That's not.
Don't know what it's about. Doesn't matter. So yeah, I'll go back to visit that in a minute. So, so after that, I went to Vincennes about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Quit and for business administration.
Yeah.
And marketing. And so then that's where I started. Actually, I hustled before this, but that's when I really went into full-time hustling.
Yeah.
The old pharmaceutical rep on the street.
Yeah.
So did that, and that was an interesting. Like it's been a while since I talked about it. That was an interesting thing to get into because it really wasn't my personality.
Yeah.
It wasn't the business part of it. Yeah, sure, but everything that came with it. Like you had to have some serious conversations with yourself and those you was with.
And situations you got put into, I'm sure.
Yeah, because you had to kind of, and not just the way I think, like we'll talk like, okay, we out here and certain situations is going to happen. It happens. Like people might try to shoot us, rob us, whatever. Like we can't respond like, hey, let's let bygones be bygones. Like, I mean, we might potentially have to kill some people out here. And it's like, are we willing to do that, to do this? And I mean, those is literally conversations we were having.
Wow.
And it's just like, well, I guess so.
Yeah.
Just if it come up, and it came up a few times. So I still got the scars.
Wow. From getting robbed?
Yeah, I got robbed in South Bend. And I thought somebody else was to get robbed. Like you can almost feel it coming.
Really?
But I thought it was somebody else, and it turned out to be me, which didn't make any sense that night. But so after it happened, and I'm thinking like, and it was weird because he didn't even take none of my jewelry. Like my jewelry was worth more than the money I had on me at the time.
Right.
Only had like $3-4 grand or something.
Really?
Yeah, and it's like, what?
But how do you know you had $3-4 grand?
Well, the person I couldn't prove set me up. I believe he told him. I think he was in on it, but we couldn't. like it was kind of point to that, but we wanted to be sure because what we was going to do as a result of knowing for sure.
Right. You need to be 100% depending on,
Yeah. So, and that's what I mean, having that conversation. But the guy who actually did it, we weren't looking for him.
Right.
For sure.
Right. Because he made the decision to rob you.
Yeah. And I never seen him again. Like I found out he was from Chicago.
So he just came through, robbed you, and dipped.
Yep.
Wow.
And the clothes, I remember the clothes I had that night, I hung them up in my closet. Like I never even washed them. So it was like blood all over it. And so whenever I open my closet, like those clothes are there. And I was just like, when I see that dude, I'm going to kill him.
Wow.
I'm going to kill this cat. Wow. I don't care where we at, what we doing.
It's going down. Yeah.
And thank God I never saw him.
Yeah. What time frame was this? Like when you were
I think I was
out of high school?
19 at that time.
And that would be, I don't want to date you, but you can say, was it like
93,
90s? Okay.
Around late 93.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Pagers. 92.
Cell phones weren't really a thing. And
no, they had like the burner phones. They had the big phones, and then they had some of the big flip burner phones.
Yeah.
And then nobody really paid for them. You got somebody that burned you a phone for you.
And that's how you talked. That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah, so during that time, just doing my thing, making money, hanging out, doing all this stuff. So my wife currently, we all known each other. My best friend is her first cousin.
Okay.
So, and our families
close.
know each other, and we all hung out, grew out together. So we started dating, and she had my first child. She like, Bullet, I'm pregnant. I was like, what? Like, oh man,
this is real now.
Yeah, and I always made a vow to raise my children.
Wow.
And it's like, well, you can't raise them from prison.
Yeah.
So I said, I got to get out of the game. So I would like to say I got out immediately then, but I didn't. I kind of won myself off of it. Like I was, got out of the cane part and was in the weed part and dealing with stuff and just kind of tapering off. And then it just like, I started realizing like, I'm not going to be able to actually stop though. Like I'm having a hard time. And I didn't like the person I become because I was out there for long enough. It do alter your mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I remember just kept looking. I was looking in the mirror and it's like I'm a trash father. Like I'm going to be a trash father if I don't change this stuff. And so like not long after that, probably when my daughter's around 3, I was just like kind of like, and Wani, it was Shwani's nickname, Wani, my wife, she was like, you got to change. You got to stop doing this or I'm going to leave and this and that. And it's just oh man, I was like, I'm stuck because again, I want to stop and I was working a job, but it's like, still though, like, I mean,
there's a little bit here, a little bit there. You got, you get it probably cheaper than most people and you can make a little money here. And
because I had a nice plug, which he's still here. He's not in it, but they still here.
Yeah. So not in prison. That's good.
Yeah. Then they something else. So I was like, okay. So that's when I was sitting there and I was sitting on the bed and watching LaCie broadcasting. And I don't know what preacher it was or whatever. I don't remember, but it was like, give your life to the Lord and say this sinner's prayer and stuff. And I didn't really, because I went to church, but I didn't really pay attention. But so I was like, okay, well, I got to try something because, I mean, I'm going to lose my girl, my child potentially and all that. And so I just said the prayer. And then all of a sudden, like the Holy Spirit just hit me. I didn't know it at the time. And I just felt this overwhelmness of love and everything. It was just like, what is this? And like, what's going on? And then I started crying and I started confessing everything I knew, like I did, and everything I can remember. And I don't know why. I was just walking around the house, just feeling my guts.
Wow.
And so it's like, well, and then when I got done and Shwani had went to the store and she came back and it's like, I'm going to church. She was like, what happened? What's wrong with you? What you mean you going to church? She's like, I've been trying to get you to church and you wouldn't go. And it's like, I'm going, like, so I didn't know what happened. So I went to go get a package.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even realize what I even did. So I went to get a package and I got it. And this last time I got high. So I smoked a blunt. And then I could just hear this small, still voice like, don't take that. I'll take care of you. And I'm like, looking around.
Whoa.
Like shook it off. And I said, nah, I know the weed ain't tainted because I rolled the blunt myself.
Right.
I was
Right.
like, no, nobody did nothing. So, but I kept hearing that. So I gave everything back. I said, you know what? I'm good. And then what's the matter? I said, I don't know. Like, I just don't know. And I just gave it all back. And then I was driving home and I was ashamed of being high. Like, I never felt like this. Like, I ain't never been ashamed. And and I said, I'm not doing that again. So I never got high again. And so the following Sunday, I went to church and I was telling everything. Like, I did all this stuff and blah, blah. And I was like, and I told him how I said that prayer. And I said, I want to give my life to the Lord. It's like, you did. I was like, that's what I did? Oh, okay. So I went home, all my jewelry, everything that had to do with that life, I put in the garbage bag and threw it in the dumpster.
No.
And it was like, that's it. I'm out. I said, this is it. This is what I want to do the rest of my life. And it never looked back. It's like, yeah, that is it.
Wow.
So that's how I got out of that. And it shocked everybody. And it's different for different people. It all depends on how you in the game. So I wasn't in any gang or clique or cartel or any of that stuff.
Right.
It was just a small little group of us. And so one came by when I said to the other, and it's like, all right. And then another, it's like, man, we heard you was out. Yeah. And so, okay, we just wanted to hear from you.
Right.
And that was it.
Right.
And they never tried to get me back in because they just know me. Like, I wouldn't play like that. It was like, I didn't even explain why. It's just like, nope, I'm out. And it was like, all right, brother, we just wanted to make sure.
Wow.
That was it.
Wow.
That was the end of it.
That's crazy. That's good. Good thing you weren't in a gang. You know, I feel like they're probably difficult, a little bit more difficult to get out of it. But and then you said it was hard to get out during that time as you're trying to taper off before you gave your life to the Lord, and I bet it was because you were still in those circles and still connected with, and opportunities arise, and you go and you're hanging out, and then you guys are doing stuff together, and just guilty by association in some ways, you know, and so
and the money was. Like, I was like, some people, like, money was cool, but I was actually addicted to the business of it. I just love the business
What's the profit? How do I make the most out of this? How do I make this
I get that money away or did whatever. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of like your report card.
Right.
To let you know, but it was just the actual doing the business and working.
Can I double? Can I triple my profit? Can I get,
How we going to run this like a factory? Like, we're going to run this house like 3 shifts. Like, it's never where somebody's always going to be here making money, period.
Wow.
Like that. Like, we was like doing that shit.
Yeah, it was a business. That's
yeah.
It
was like,
an untaxed, a business.
How we gonna change the price, supply, all of it, just like any other product. Like, how we gonna negotiate price, that was my job.
Yeah.
So, because my partner, he didn't have the patience for that. He didn't
want to talk through it and figure it out.
No.
Yeah.
He was more the enforcer type.
You need all the different roles, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, but it's like negotiating, that was all me.
Yeah.
I talked to it. It's like, we got a better price or this and that, or we got to get it brought in from here or all that kind of stuff. So
that's nuts.
Yeah.
So then your life changes, and then what direction did you go after that?
So, of course, I had to keep a job. So now was the next challenge.
Yeah.
The next challenge wasn't getting it, but keeping it, because I didn't really take nothing off nobody. So supervisor talking crazy or whatever.
He pulls the chair out from under you. You jump up and kick him.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So, like, man, I ain't doing that or whatever, blah, 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 blah. Then it's like, wait a minute, I got to work on that because I have to, I'm not doing anything else. So I had to learn how the social skills to deal with the job.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I started doing. I started calling them humble sandwiches. I started eating humble sandwiches. Like, I'm like, on the inside, I would kill this dude, but it's like, no, okay, yes, sir, I'll go do it and whatever. And it made me feel horrible, but it's like, I got to, because I got to take care of my family. So I just put up with a lot of stuff, so to speak. And then I just started learning the skills, how to talk to management or whoever. And I was like, well, if I learn how to talk on the street with stuff, I need to learn how to talk this way. So I just worked in typical factory stuff, and then I was worked for Judah Enterprise temporarily. One of the guys at my church asked me to work with him and stuff. He gave me a job, and it was a good job, but then he liked the way I carry myself and how I understood freight brokering and stuff. And he asked me to do that for a while, and then he was like, how would you like to be a partner in a trucking company.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was all in about a year.
Wow. Just based on how you carried yourself and the negotiating skills that you may have learned along the way, right?
And asking questions, because I was always curious about his business. Like, how do you do the freight, or how this is working?
Yeah.
And I was the only one who was doing that. And that's
Actually,
that's simple
engaging.
enough.
Yeah.
So,
And probably trying to make things more efficient and problem solve and do things faster.
I love doing that.
Yeah. The business side of things.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, but I got called out of it. Like from there, I went to Basher.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
and that was a being led thing, because I was making good money, but at the same time, it's like, it seemed like I should be doing something else, and I wouldn't mind working with kids or something. I was just debating about that and praying about it, and so I opened up the newspaper, and they had the job at Basher, and it's like, yeah, I need to apply there, and so I applied and got the job. Then they told me how much I got paid, and I was like, what? Like, oh man, like, baby, I don't know how we gonna make it.
Yeah.
Because this time I had my second child.
Oh, wow.
My son. So it's like, but I feel like the Lord is leading here, so He's going to take care of us.
He's going to provide.
Did the whole time. So I worked there about almost 10 years.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow.
Yep. I'm on the board now.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Making the decision. But 10 years of experience helps you probably make really good decisions for the Basher, as opposed to someone who just brought in because they have a lot of money. You know what I mean? Like, not that all boards are like that, but some boards do.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out
they brought in
who can fund us, right?
Yeah. And there's those who has expertise on financial stuff and all of that. So it's all
you want a lawyer, you want an accountant, you want those pieces of the puzzle on your board, and then but you come in because of the experience and that's awesome.
So I was honored. I was like, I couldn't, because I never thought, I wasn't thinking one day I'd be on the board or whatever, but I was always loyal to them. Even when I left and went to my job after that, I said, I don't care what you need.
Let me know.
They helped me grow a lot. Like the guy who runs it now, he was like my first mentor. And it said, now, if you talk to him, he said I mentored him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because when I say that, he's like, you mentored me. And it's like, well, maybe certain things, but
yeah.
But he looked out for me because I was so raw still.
Yeah.
And I'm working with kids, and I don't put up with stuff, and others like, you can go beat me up like you do the other staff. That's not happening.
Yeah.
And I would say, and because I understood where they was coming from, so I would say things that you probably shouldn't say in that setting, but the kids understood, and that's why they responded. So I'll be like, I said, I'll drop you on your neck and tell the judge why I did it. I'm not worried about going to jail. They go, Adrian, you can't. They know what I'm saying. Yeah. They know I don't mean that literally.
Right. But it's this is a serious thing.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna kill you, but also I might. Yeah.
Yeah, just don't cross the line. I'm gonna do something, they're gonna be that extreme, but something is gonna happen.
Right.
And they just know that when you grow up like that, and those idle threats, but it's not literally that threat, but it's your parents my mom did that to us all the time.
Yeah.
So you just know, it all boils down to you probably get a whooping or you get around it.
Right.
She's not going to stand up on the chair because she's shorter than me and stab me with a fork. She just said that. Okay, mama.
That's the feeling of the whooping that she's gonna give, though. Yeah, exactly.
You'll feel like you got stabbed.
Yeah, that's. Dude, Basher's in a really beautiful place too. I love the woods, and when you drive over there, it's just gorgeous, kind of how it's tucked away. I've not really been to the facility; I just drive by it all the time.
Yep, it's a wonderful place.
Yeah, it's a wonderful place. Yeah, I had a roommate that worked at Pearson in the Woods. It's a boys' facility in Warsaw.
Okay.
And so he would tell me stories all the time of different things that they would get into. So it's just, I'm sure there was a lot of work. It wasn't just,
But I just loved it because I didn't take anything personal. They'll say stuff, I can't stand or whatever. It's just like, okay, well, of course they're upset. They've been through a lot. They just, I just never took it personal. But I'll let you know you're not for whoop me though.
Yeah.
Like, it's not,
or push me around.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Or manipulate me. I'm sure that they come from, some of the kids are pretty good manipulators.
Oh yeah, especially when you first get there. Sometimes they don't have to be good because you really want to help, and then you realize like, wait a minute, like they're
playing me.
Yeah, because you're kind of let your guard down at first, and I did a little bit in the beginning, but I'm like, wait a minute, like it didn't take me long, but it just I got it. That's where Sean was helping me how to maneuver through that in a way that fits for there. So
yeah, that's cool. Yeah. So you're there for 10 years, and then what'd you do?
Went to community corrections, which is work release.
Okay.
So somebody from Basher went there to set up programming there, and he asked me to come with him, and I didn't want to leave Basher. I mean, I loved it there, but I felt the leading of the Holy Spirit to go and the peace to come with it. And I was like, well, what do you want me to do other than help with the program stuff? Like, yeah, I'd be a case manager. I said, man, I don't like paperwork. Like, a lot. I don't like paperwork. And they're just like, yeah, that's going to be about 80% of your job. Ooh. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But, okay. And I'm glad I did, because it taught me. I had a crash course on how to do paperwork and everything. It's just like I had to learn. I didn't know how to do an Excel spreadsheet, but I had to do one like when I got there and got set up like in 20 minutes, and I literally just figured it out.
Wow.
And I was just hitting stuff. And I don't know how I pulled that off, but it's just like, yeah, I got it together and had my little caseload people in there, and then they sent me to training for it later.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I had to figure it out. So did that for about 2 years. So 1 year was in the work release facility. The second year was in the county jail. And so, like, to make it simple, there were some issues I was having at work release. So, because me being me, the sheriff department asked me to come to do programs there for them. But the catch was I had to be a custody officer. Okay. My job program officer technically didn't exist on paper. So it's like you have to be, I was like, all right, no problem. So started doing it for them. And that's how I got into the law enforcement field. Wow.
Did you have to go to school or
jail school?
Jail school. Okay.
Yep. And every year you got to renew your training, like firearms and defensive tactics. And after a few years of being there, I became a law enforcement instructor. So I taught defensive tactics, pepper ball, and all those things. Yeah.
Wow. Totally different than what you probably were expecting to head towards.
Just see that coming. So I was still doing programs with the inmates, but I was also doing that
as an officer. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Wow. Well, I do want to say one of the things that I remember you talking about at church that really struck me was you talked about how your time in the jail and also the work release, how those individuals really are the bedrock of the community. And so if you can change people there, you're going to really impact the community. But it's not something you think about, You're trying to think externally, how do we solve the community? No, that's an internal problem of this is where the need's at.
Yeah, because it's like when you look at recidivism, everybody's like, how are we going to reduce recidivism and do all these classes and stuff? It's like, but they're the one that recidivate. So you can't try to solve that without them because it's them.
Right. You can't make a decision and then it's all they have to be part of it. Wow.
Yeah. And it's like, and that's what I would tell them prophetically about this area. And it's like, and I was telling them, I said, God, scripture talking about God chose the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. And I was telling them, I said, what perfect way or what perfect position they'll be in that God will use them. And it's like, what do you mean? I said, well, the word foolish in the Greek is moros, where we get the word moron from. So, what you mean, like silly or sick or stupid? And I said, it's a reason why God chose morons, because for one, we know we can't do this without him.
Right.
We're well aware of that. And then he gets the glory as a result, because we're going to give it to him, because we know we couldn't have done it without him. Right. And it's like, that's why not many wise or wealthy and stuff, not that it can't be called, but see, when you have money sometimes, or you wise in your own eyes and stuff, can't
super
nobody tell
intelligent,
you
right? Right.
God can't do hardly. It's hard for him to do something with that. It's hard to tell somebody something if they know everything.
Well, and God gave you that gift, but you think you're doing it. You know, yeah.
And it's hard to operate in that, like operate in, like Lord just leading you, like you have the gift, but then learn how to use it the way He say use it, and the timing and stuff, and that is very difficult to do. Very difficult.
Yeah,
because
that's humble sandwiches all day long.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
Hot sauce don't make them taste better.
Yeah,
does it? It's just, yeah, humble sandwiches don't taste good ever.
Yeah, ever. Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, all through that journey, even with working with them and just walking it out before them, because a lot of them knew me from my past.
Yeah.
So they knew my testimony. So it's like walking it out and being honest in that with them. So walking out the good, the bad, the ugly.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, yeah, I haven't arrived. I have my struggles. It's like, because when I struggle the most is right before I'm elevated. So I would model that for even the struggle part. So I wouldn't tell them all my business, but I tell them enough to know it's like, hey, this is how the walk is. It's real.
Mm-hmm.
Just be honest before God. Where you at? Like, yeah, this is where I'm at. I need help. Help me with this part, whatever it is. Like, just tell it. Like, that's what I do.
Yeah. And then he elevates you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll work on your heart. Like, actually, I'm going through something currently. And it's not so much as what's happening externally, it's what He's working out of me and working out of my heart. So, and it's horrible. Like, that process. It's really, and I knew it was going to be. Like, it's just to get to the next level, like, it's a lot of foolishness still in me, and it got to be done. Like, testing trials bring out foolishness.
Yeah.
Like, so this is the biggest one of my life, so to speak. Like I said, it's not so much as external stuff. It's just the constant, like the olive press.
Yeah.
To get it out in this. And I'm stubborn. I mean, to be honest.
Yeah. Is it like ways of thinking or different stuff like that? I know that's so hard because you ingrain these paths, and it's like you have to cut a new path.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. It's thinking, that's for sure. It's because the route I'm going in, I deal with a lot of community and political stuff, and I did my toe in that for a second, and that's more is to come. But they still that, like, I like how you put it, pull the chair out in front of me, kick you in the face type deal. It's still kind of some residue.
Yes. And
one of the things the Lord is teaching me is like, just because you had the authority to do something, don't mean you should. Can you discipline that? Like, I mean, because that means I have to move the way He say move with the authority that I will be given naturally. And it's all this, I'm getting stuff burnt out of me before I can be in a position to do that.
Oh, wow.
And it's like,
because you can handle this thing. But it's God, you gotta wait for God to tell you to do it.
Yeah.
Oh,
if at all.
If at all.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah. It's just like, woo. So you just sit there like, okay, Lord, like, yeah, you better get them. I'm telling you, I don't mean destroy them. I mean, you know, because I'll pray for them and stuff, but it's like, yeah, I'm gonna have to.
Yeah.
And pray for me too.
Yeah. I keep on doing my thing.
Yeah. Ooh, boy.
So I'll go get them. Right. Exactly.
Yep. And if I don't get them, my sister will get them.
Yeah.
Go get them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's like a season I'm in now. So, and I was trying to keep it to myself, and after a while, just like, no, like I need to let people know.
Do you find that when you do talk to other people about it, it helps, like, you start to see, like, oh, I need to, maybe this edge is kind of too sharp. I need to tone this down a little bit by speaking it out. I don't know. For me, when I externally process, you know, I like to think through things. When I process, I'm like, oh yeah, this all makes sense except for this part. I can really, you know, I understand why I'm feeling this, but this was a little. Maybe I'm a little too much here, a little too much here. I don't know if that happens for you at all. But.
Oh, yeah. And then for me is learning, I got people I trust I could talk to, but when it's deeper things, because how I grew up. So to go back to that, like, one of them latchkey kids. So parents worked a lot. Even when I moved in with my dad, he worked quite a bit. So like I never, like all the emotional stuff, whatever, I pretty much handle myself. Like even like with the thing with school or something happened, I didn't come home like, oh, somebody was trying to, just.
Yeah.
Our school day fine. Like, I mean, I wasn't coming home traumatized from that. It was just another day at school.
Yeah.
Like, just so happened I did that. But other than that, so that's what it was. So I spent so much time on myself. I just self-regulated and all the emotions, whatever happened, I just addressed it myself. But that's not going to fly now. Like that, it's like, nope, you can't, that's not going to work. And so when I get super stressed, I isolate more.
Yeah.
And so because that's what I'm used to as a kid. So
Yeah.
being alone, so I automatically isolate.
Wow.
And the harder it's being, the more I isolate, and it's been really hard. So that night you saw me a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
like I forced myself just to get out, get somewhere, just go. And I knew the guy to own that place, so I went to see him.
Nice.
And it's like, yeah, because I've been isolating a lot lately.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was you getting out. That's crazy.
Yep.
And that's where I need to talk to him. Get you out the house again.
Yeah, because it's like, I was just sitting in the house and I was just ruminating and stuff. And that's good at times, like you're saying, calculating and doing whatever. But it's like, nah, I need to get plugged back in with people and, and things. It's like you can't keep keeping yourself from everyone.
Yeah. No, you can't. That's so two years total. One in the community or the corrections facility, and then the other in the jail.
Mm-hmm.
And then where'd you go from there?
From there, I went to Lippert, personal development coach. So how that came about was interesting because I wanted to do a consulting firm, like start my own consulting thing. My wife convinced me of doing that because I would consult on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't charge anybody. I'm just being helpful. People like, what do you think about this? I'm like, all right. And Shwani like, you need to start getting paid.
Yeah.
I was like, I ain't worried about that. Like, I said, well, maybe she's right.
Yeah.
So I started exploring that, and I was like, well, maybe I could do corporate. So I talked to somebody who worked there, and I said, yeah, I would like to do contract work or whatever. And so then a couple weeks after that, he said, how would you like to work for a company doing that? And I said, that's cool. So they told me about the job. I was like, y'all pay people to do this? And I interviewed. They said, you got the job. And I went back to the sheriff department like,
yes.
Yeah. It's like, man, they're going to pay me way more money to do this. And I get to fly all over the country doing it and stuff. Oh, yeah. I ain't for to take that. Like, what if it don't work out?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but the other thing, though, was weird about that. I knew I had to do something there years ago. Like I knew
at Lippert?
Yeah, and I knew it was going to be short. So I knew my stay there was going to be short. Yeah, so in advance.
Wow.
So even that wasn't me orchestrating that. So,
it was, you just knew it was going to be.
Yeah, I thought it was going to play out more like I just had a conversation with Jason Lippert. I didn't think I was going to actually work there, but I knew I had to speak into some Lippert stuff.
Wow.
So, and then that pretty much right after that happened, I was pretty much out of there.
So you had you spoke in and then you were out.
Yeah. I talked to Jason Lippert and he told me it's like it was perfect timing because I had to confirm some things for him that I felt like the Lord was leading me to tell him like a certain direction. It's like make sure these things happen as you go in this direction.
Wow.
And he confirmed. He's like, yeah, that was perfect timing, like because that's what the thing. I was like, okay. And then pretty much after that, maybe about 6 months or so, I was out of there.
Wow.
Yep. And COVID hit right at that time and all that stuff. So, and then during COVID, I had gained a bunch of weight because all I was doing was eating. Because it took me forever just to not do anything. So I picked up the hobby of watching YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Food, all the people making stuff. And all I did was make
Cook
food
food.
to eat the whole time.
Man.
So, to the point where I couldn't even fit my clothes. So during that time, once stuff started opening up, I said, I got to get back in the gym and all that. So get a phone call from the mayor. And the mayor's like, we have a new chief. And he said, I want to He said I would take the job if I could have this guy they call Bullet come with me. And he was like, Bullet, because the mayor know me as Bullet as well. So
yeah.
And he said, I knew he knew you because, he called you Bullet. And they said, well, what we want you to do is be like a liaison between the community and the police department because your background across the board up to this point. And I said, I would be honored to. And that's what I'm doing currently. Been doing that for 3 years. So
wow,
that's what I do is, and I went to the mayor one day and I was like, to really do this, I need your permission to have the authority to do whatever I need to do in the city. So this is a spiritual principle in the kingdom because, the mayor has all the authorities, everything that's like, so if I'm going to work in the city, I need you to pray for me and bless me to do whatever I need to do.
Wow.
In the city. So, and he did that.
Wow.
And then it's like, okay, it's on.
Yeah. So you're the kind of connection between police and the people? Is that kind of the role you're playing?
Yep. So, and didn't nobody really, including myself, know what that looked like entirely.
Yeah.
So it was just, the chief and the mayor, they just trust me. And it's like, yeah, you select for a reason. Like, just do what you do. Like, basically build a plane as you fly it.
Wow.
So that's what I did. I just started out walking around downtown and visiting the merchants and, just, hey, I'm the liaison and anything on you guys' mind or what you would like to see different or whatever. And it was like, yeah, it'd be nice if this and this happened. And I got all the information to take it back to the chief.
Started 2020? Or 2021?
About 2020, 2021. Right
so, yeah, things are kind of a little wild at that point, too.
Yeah, because it was right at the January 16th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a lot of tension all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd say police weren't the most liked at that point right there. I think this is probably the lowest that they've been liked.
Yeah, because there's the George Floyd stuff. All of that was happening. It was, matter of fact, that's what was so funny about it because about this, at least over there, they have we have a strong positive look at police and law enforcement here in this area. Yeah, more so than anything else. Yeah. So even when I worked at the sheriff department and I did security at the fair or whatever, it was always
people waving.
What you doing? And you go places, they'll pay for your food. So overall, it was okay. But there was a group of people or activists, if you will. It's like, oh, the police is this and that and whatever. And then I had to explain why tactics was used and how the media would manipulate video to make you think it's one thing and it's really not. Because I didn't watch hundreds of use of forces and stuff because I was an instructor. So I had to watch them, saw myself in them. Yeah. And even there's times when I watch myself in the use of force, it's like, that looked horrible. Right. But everything I did was tactically sound. Wow. But it looks bad. The optics is bad. But it's like, we didn't do anything out of pocket, though. Wow. Yeah, so I could just, if I'm thinking that, just what a civilian would think. Right. So that's what I would explain to him and even tell him that. I said, I didn't see myself. I could see where you would think that, but this is why this strike was done and why it was placed there versus a fight. Like, I mean, it's just like, And then there's officers that was totally way out in left field. And it's like, they out in left field, and this is why, and this is what they should have done versus this. So I would have that conversation with the public or 101 public forum or however it arises. Wow. So it's like, but if it's trash, I'll call it that. Yeah. Like, nobody, I ain't for to defend nobody. Like, they shouldn't have did that. Yeah. Which probably builds trust, which is what you're supposed to be doing. Right. It makes sense. Yeah. Just being authentic and honest and telling the people what the truth is. Yeah, because especially like when I'll talk to this guy, he got pulled over and he said he thought the officer was racist and he called him racist stuff. And I know the officer pretty well. Like, I trained him and stuff. So I went and met with him. And I said, walk me through this. I said, all right. I said, okay. Let's just say, for argument's sake, he is racist. What was you trying to get out of telling him that? Yeah. And he just kind of looked at it. I was like, not saying you should have or shouldn't. I'm just saying what outcome you think was going to happen. Yeah. And I said, well, let me put it this way. Again, he's racist and he's messing with you on purpose because he's racist. so was you thinking he was going to stop when you said that?
You're racist. Oh yeah, I'm racist. Okay, I'm gonna stop right now.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you called me out. Like,
wow.
Like, so I said, what I would suggest here, just comply.
Yeah.
And do what it's like. Again, you can file a complaint whether you think it do something or not. It does.
Yeah.
But especially if there's enough of them. But yeah, I would just strongly suggest, like, because if somebody own trash, it's nothing you gonna say to make them stop.
Oh yeah.
It's like so.
Yeah, you're just gonna provoke them even more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why you see that in the videos all the time. Like, yeah, you're just gonna escalate them. It's gonna turn into a power struggle. Just don't.
Yeah.
I know that's easier said than done sometimes.
Right.
I get it.
Right.
And I had plenty of encounters with police, actually, like, over the years.
Yeah.
But that was even our rule. We didn't cuss the police out or whatever, especially back then, because you will get beat up.
Really?
Now it ain't even as bad as you've been, please. Okay. Say something you want to.
I was gonna say in the 90s, I'm sure it's way different than that.
Oh,
yeah.
Boy, please. And what's funny, we might laugh at you because you got beat up by the police for talking crazy. Like, that's what you get. You know better than that.
Yeah. Wow. That's fascinating.
Yeah, like, yeah. Our goal was to get them out the way.
Yeah.
Like, here you go, whatever.
Yeah.
You talk about them after they left, but
Not.
we ain't for the.
Yeah.
We good.
And you don't need him if you are. You don't want him to find anything you may have in the trunk, or
Yeah,
you
exactly.
just keep it as chill as possible. Keep it, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I had guns put on me by police for my friend Tracy up in Sturgis, Michigan. Yeah, like it was totally mistaken identity. We knew who they was after.
Really?
Yeah, but so I tell this story when I talk about this because then they say, "Well, police be racially profiling or profiling." Like, yeah. That's the job. And they're like, what do you mean? Now I always tell this as an example. I said, so we went to Sturgis and we was at this club. A couple friends of ours got kicked out for throwing up gang signs.
Okay.
So we was like, we ain't leaving with you. Y'all drove your own car, so that's y'all dumb fault. So after the club was closing and it was letting out, and we went outside and it was like, oh man, we got in a fight with these cats and blah blah blah. Like, all right, well. We all drove to the gas station down the street. So me and my friend Tracy coming out, we got, our snacks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Police rolled up like, freeze. And we weren't thinking about it, like, because we didn't do anything. So we walking and yelled again. I said, freeze, put up your hands. And we like, what? Like, what's going on? We heard you guys got in a fight and had guns.
Oh, wow.
And so we was like, that ain't us. And it's like, well, we're going to search you in your car. And we was like, okay. So they searched it, and it was like, thank God, this one of the few times we actually didn't bring guns.
Oh, wow.
Because we rarely did that if we went out of town.
Yeah.
It was rare.
Yeah.
So
especially if you've been robbed a couple times.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
And that, I'll have to get back to that one in a second. About that was a fluke too. Like, I didn't have my gun. That's why that even went down.
Wow.
But yeah, so they searched the car and they had none. Let's go. We didn't cuss them out, whatever, because we knew we was mad because we knew who caused this to happen. We was mad at them.
Right.
Like, we in Sturgis now. When I tell the story, I said, did they racially profile us? Yeah, sure. I said, now I want you to think about this from a police perspective. We in Sturgis, Michigan.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of black people there.
Yeah.
Sturgis.
Yeah.
It's the description: two black people, two black men.
Right.
Two black men walking in Sturgis that's mostly white.
Yeah.
Out the gas station not long after the club let out.
Right.
Really?
Right.
Like,
you're putting the pieces together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course they thought it was us. Who else would they think us be? In Sturgis.
Right. Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
So we wasn't mad about that. Like, we didn't even think, did they racially profile us? Sure they did.
Yeah.
Because they were looking for two black men.
Who may have
and we
had
was
guns.
it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Right there.
That's, yeah.
So we was mad, like, see, y'all always doing something. We keep telling y'all quit fighting for us and bringing all this heat on us.
Yeah. That's nuts.
Yeah, so it's like, well, it is what it is. And
Yeah.
we went, matter of fact, we got a hotel room that night because we was like, I don't know if they're going to follow us back or not. So we'll just stay in Sturgis.
And just chill. Yeah. That's it. Does that help people when you give stories like that? Does it make sense?
Somewhat, because sometimes they can't get past to, well, that's not fair. And it's like, I don't know, understand what you don't think. Yeah, it's fair about that. It's just they don't know. It ain't like somebody drew a sketch of who they with, or
right.
like it's all it was is two black males.
Yeah. wearing a black shirt and a white shirt, right?
Yeah, which we all pretty much dressed alike.
See, that's racially profiling right there. But yeah, okay. No.
Yeah, but it's like, but that's the thing. It's like, I understand what emotions it invokes now. It's like, but when you just look at the factual thing, some people can do that better than others.
Right.
It's like, yeah. And I said, but the thing is, and I appreciate it, that's like, but how are you more offended than us? And it happened to us. Like, we wasn't offended by that at all.
Yeah.
Like, it made perfect sense.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's where we at.
Yeah. That's wild. Tell me a little bit about the gun fluke thing.
So the night I got robbed, I was on my way actually because I didn't even have it on me at the time, the gun. So I was like, before we went out to South Bend, because I forgot what we was going to do after, because the guy I was with was supposed to pick up something, like some work. Then was going to go to where we was going. So that's why I thought he was going to get robbed actually. But before we was going, I was like, oh man, I said, I need to, I need to swing by the house real quick, get that heat just in case. And I was like, it's no big deal. So,
oh no.
Yeah, like, but again, I thank God that it happened because I remember once I realized I was struck, I hit the ground. And so when he was swinging at me, and my elbow still bothers me from time to time from this. So he's swinging and I'm like covering, so he's like hitting my elbows and stuff. And then I did like this because I was reaching for my gun and realized I didn't even bring it. Like I didn't bring the gun. Yeah. I totally forgot. So I was just like, oh man. And so when I looked back at it, I said, I'm glad it went like that. And I'm like, glad I didn't get killed. But at the same time, if I would have had the gun, then I most likely would have shot him.
Right.
Because the whole point of reaching for it. So ain't no telling
where
how my life could have changed in that instance.
Wow.
So I could have shot him, killed him, or whatever.
Right.
And
or he could have pulled his gun, or who knows.
Yeah, because he hit me with a gun. He just didn't shoot me.
Really?
Yeah.
So he came and just
was it from behind? He came from behind.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because I was going to tell dude I was with. It's like, hey man, we need to go because something don't seem right. And in the middle of me saying that, that's when he hit me in the back in the head. So, but again, I thought it was him because I was in the car and they was out there doing whatever, and it was just like, this don't feel right. And that's when I got out the car, like, hey man, we need to go because this don't seem. And then that's when it all jumped off.
Wow.
But, yeah, I was like, discerning it right. You just didn't discern the target right.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
I guess that leads me to my next question is, what do you think your spiritual gifts are? Because I talked a little bit about prophecy, discernment, you're tapped in, right? But what, and I think every believer has a lot of the spiritual gifts and can operate in a bunch of them, but
word of knowledge is the biggest one.
Okay.
And so sometimes people confuse that with prophecy, and it's really not. It's just it's stuff by not studying, or know stuff is like if you're praying with somebody and you'll just get a knowledge about them that you wouldn't know because you don't know them. Mm-hmm. So that was the biggest one. It used to freak me out in the beginning because I would just.
Where'd that come from?
Yeah, why would I need to say that, or and that's why I will leave I don't know if this makes sense or not, and then I'll just say it. So, which people done that to me too.
Yeah,
when they
that's a safe way to throw that out there too, because you're not saying God says this, and you can get in trouble when you do that.
Yeah,
very in trouble. But let's see if this sticks. Just go with me a little bit. Interesting.
Yeah, and actually, interesting story about the current chief. Police was talked to him, and he was like, I forget, he might have been a captain or something. And I went up to him. It's like, have you ever thought about being chief? Like, nope. Like, you might want to. Like, just pray about it. Just then when he came to the chief, I just smiled.
Yeah.
And now he's chief. But
wow.
Yeah, that's the short version. But it was just things of that nature. And I was like, I didn't really know him that well. And so I just went to him. It's like,
hey.
Yeah.
Do you ever get a little pushback from the words of knowledge? In
the beginning.
Because
I was just in the beginning, I was just kind of raw with it. It was just and but not really so much. And it's more taper. It's more one-on-one now. It's hardly ever corporate or, sometimes that's been some years for that one. But probably about 3-4 years. But yeah, it's so now it's so specific with people. It's just like, yeah, they're just like, well, how do you even know that? Or
Wow.
where that, you know, sometimes I was like, yeah, it's easy to explain, but you may not exactly get it. But, you know, so it all depends on the circumstance. And then I'll just explain it. And I said, yeah, I said, sometimes it still feels weird, but yeah.
That's interesting. When you became a Christian, did you start going to a church that kind of operated in the Spirit?
Not originally. So
Okay.
I went to a church and they suggested that I should go to this other church that did operate
Really?
in the spiritual gifts, but I wigged them out even in the beginning because I was just literally right out the gate with that and not knowing what it's called or anything. It was just, I would just move on it. And I didn't understand at the time why I took to it so fast, even though it made me nervous. But it felt like how we used to say on the street, follow your first mind. Like the urgency of saying it and doing it felt like that. So I'm like, I don't know why I should say this, but I'm going to say it because it feel like I really need to say it. Or I need to go here or do this job or go pray over here. It just felt like almost like survival mode without, for lack of a better term. Because when I remember when one of my houses got busted, when that happened, like I was sitting there and it was like something like, get out here. Like it was everything in me was like, get out of this house now.
Wow.
And I left and 20 minutes later, like the police kicked in the door.
Wow.
I was literally just like, and they took everybody to jail. And that would happen to me a lot back then.
Wow.
Like it would be something like, man, something even when that night was robbed. But like I said, it just something didn't feel right. Yeah. And it's like, So, wow. But the knowledge came later about stuff. I was able to, the Holy Spirit was able to give me the knowledge to articulate the stuff or to break stuff down more.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's nuts.
And that's why I teach a lot, or, you know, it's just, and I'm visual, so I see everything a lot of times. So I'm looking at, as I'm saying it, I literally see a picture of it and stuff. And it's,
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah. I'm not, everyone has different gifts. So it's just like the visual things. I know a lot of people they'll see pictures or they'll see something. So every once in a while for me, but it's not one of my giftings yet, I mean, or whatnot, but it's just, it's kind of, that's really cool.
And it's a burden at times and it really weighs on you. Like, 'cause certain things like not even allowed to tell to certain times, like not my wife or anyone. Now this is going to, this freaked me out. So before I took the job I got currently, like I've always felt led to go to DC. I've been before, but it's like I had to go there specifically about praying or something. And it was just so strong. So before I took I was for to start my job there. And I told him, I said, I got to go to DC. I got to get this out the way before I start this job. Cause it's like, it seemed like the Lord was on my neck about going there. So I went there and I was like, praying, like this was my instruction before I went. First instruction was, don't take anything to indicate that you're going there to pray or do anything. Like, don't take any Bible like books, none. Like, don't take any of that. And I'm like, what? So I didn't. So I dressed like I was going on a regular business trip. So this is where you're first going to go. You're going to the Capitol building first. Okay, so I stayed at the Hyatt. I think it was probably about a mile away from there. Like, you will start there, and then I'll tell you where to go to pray after that. So that's where I started, and I was like, well, that's okay. So started there, and I spent all that day just praying different places and stuff. And so I was there about 2 days, about 2-3 days. And so when I first got there, my cards wouldn't work right. Like my
couldn't get into your room.
It was crazy. Good thing I had like more than one.
Yeah.
But it wasn't working. Like everything was just kind of shot when I first got there.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, man, see there. So when I got in the room and everything and the vibe there, like, and I fasted before I went this time.
Okay.
And the vibe there was like, I said, I never felt anything like this. And I was like telling my wife, she's like, what do you mean? It's almost like a hidden thing. It's like it's open but hidden at the same time, like hidden in plain sight, like spiritually. It's just like, I said, I don't know. It's the vibe of it is weird.
Wow.
It's just like it's so much, you can almost feel what's going on, but you almost can't.
You can almost see it.
Yeah. And I said, it's the weirdest thing, I said, well, You know, and I walked past some people that were like, whoa, at times and different things. But
You were walking past people and you're like, you felt stuff off of them.
oh yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Like what I almost wanted to grab him like, man, what you be doing?
Wow.
Like, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
like for real. And see, that's why I gotta be careful because I'll do something like that. That's just crazy.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, hey, what you into? And I wouldn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was that. So, and I was like, I don't want to be here. Like I was like telling him, I said, I want to come home. And the Holy Spirit like, I want you to stay 2 more days. I was like, you know what? I'm sorry. Like, I would have trained and went back. I said,
Really?
I did. I said, I'm sorry. I hate to just. I'm getting out of here. I was like, I don't. And I know I met some people and I ministered with people and stuff, and they bought my food because again, the word of knowledge thing, and just guy was going through like a rough marriage, and you know, and I talked to him about that and everything, and yeah, but I was like, because I never went there fasted and prayed up before. I said, I don't like this. Like, I don't like being here. Like,
You could feel it.
yeah, I feel so uncomfortable being. I was like, yeah, so I was like, I'm out. Like, I'm out of here. So
Yeah, I wonder what that's all about. Because there's spiritual stuff happening there on a high level. And so,
yeah, because a few months later, cause I was there in November, so the whole January 6th thing happened, like, you know, right after that, like a few months after that.
Wow.
And then it was there, and I was like, wait a minute, I was there, like, because I didn't even put it together right away.
Wow.
Excuse me.
So you've seen footage and you're like, oh, I was there praying here. I was there
Yeah.
praying there. Whoa.
Yep. And I was just like, boy. So,
Did you have to go? So did you have to go back down there again? Did you
yeah,
say?
I do have to go.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to go to New York too, which I don't want to do that.
You don't want to go to New York? Yeah.
No.
No.
No. And I'm not scared of nothing, even physically and it's nothing like that. It just, again, that stuff takes a toll on you. And then you when you discern stuff where you have word of knowledge about stuff, and then it's like, what do you do with that?
Right.
You know, because it do sound, now, you asked me earlier about pushback. If you get a word of knowledge about political stuff, whatever, or that's where you get your pushback at.
Really?
If anything. Oh, yeah.
Really? Are you talking from like a high level or even local level?
Both.
Both. Yeah.
Yeah, not so much local,
But
you know, but higher up the food chain.
Yeah.
Because I can see why, because people can't get their mind there. They just can't get it there.
Yeah.
Like, so.
We had a lot of prophets in the charismatic world say certain things in this last election that haven't come true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they said they were pretty adamant that this is what God is telling them and this is going to happen. And I've not seen anyone stone them yet. You know, I'm just like, that tells me that there's a lot of false prophets.
Yeah.
That are, and I think that when it comes to politics, there's a lot of individuals who are grifting, you know, they're using it, they're making money. It's a hot topic. People put their hope in it. Let's not put their hope in Jesus. If you're American, put your hope in whatever party you're into, right? And so that's interesting. So when you get words of knowledge in that realm, it kind of triggers people, huh?
Oh, yeah, because it ain't nowhere near where everybody else is saying. Nowhere close. That's why
You don't have to say it on the podcast, but you have to tell me some of this stuff.
I'll tell you something now.
Okay.
Like, so I'll tell you one thing. So was it that year? I think it's the year when COVID was ready to come out, right? And yeah, I remember sitting on the edge of the bed, and I was like, oh no. And my wife was like, what? And I was like, this is the year of Lucifer. And she was like, what? And I was like, yeah, that's what I said. Like, what? What does that mean? And it's just like, what, you know, and all the chaos and stuff, because everybody else was just so optimistic. And and this is where I was really struggling with myself, because it's like, no one else is saying this, like no one.
Yeah.
Everybody, oh, it's the greatest time or whatever. I was like, that's not what I'm getting. It's for the big stone crazy.
Wow.
And then, but nobody was saying that. And I was like, well, I could be off. I can, you know, I'm not above that.
Right.
But I'm like, I'm not getting nothing close to that. It's like, it's for to be crazy. Like, it's just, it's not good.
And you felt it. You knew.
And I literally I was just sad. Like, on the side of the bed, I said, because I don't even know what to do with this. Like, I don't know really even what that means, like how this is going to play out.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like, boy, this is not.
And then as it plays out, you're like, oh my gosh.
Yep.
Oh.
And all the stuff they was doing, like in the BLM riots and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
all the chaos magic and stuff they was doing. Like if you find the right footage, you will see them doing it.
It's chanting and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not totally plugged into that stuff, but I know that certain spells were being said.
Yep.
At times, and they're calling on almost dead individuals and using that energy to fuel the emotions and the feeling.
Yep.
And you start looking at some of that stuff. That was just from a really high level of what I was looking at.
Now I'm gonna put something out there too.
Okay.
And people gonna think this sounds crazy. Just
I'm
something
here
to think
for
about.
it. I'm here for it.
So
I'm a little crazy myself. So this is
so how many people actually got literally killed at January 6th?
one lady
Yeah.
that I am aware of
Yeah. And she was shot.
by a police officer.
One round
Capitol.
in the neck.
Yeah.
So, and people's like, and I said, now all this stuff that happened, don't y'all think that's odd that one person was shot? That's it. One person was literally shot. One person shed blood on that site. Why you think that is? And they'll just like, they'll look. I said, I want you to think about it. One person was shot and blood was spilled on that spot. You think that was by accident?
You think it was a sacrifice?
So it looked like one. The place where they do laws at,
Yeah.
you create innocent bloodshed to summons what?
Yeah. Holy cow. Yeah.
Yeah.
It cries out. It cries out.
Yep. So in rituals, there's blood rituals, there's whatever. But that's
Yeah.
where you will lose people because why would the government? It's like you can't think government. You have to think above that, like
Yeah.
or behind the scenes of that.
Yeah.
Because why don't nobody ever talk about that?
Why it's so hidden. They don't want to even talk, but it's being, I think people are waking up to it. I mean, at least I am. And people around me are. They're seeing stuff. I was just listening to a podcast with the president of El Salvador, and he was talking about MS-13 and how MS-13 is literally a satanic gang. And he's not. I'm not saying that because I'm trying to put them in a bad light. They literally sacrifice babies, sacrifice innocent bloods. They do that to fuel the. And he's like, there's interviews where a killer for him, like he was an enforcer, he would kill their rivals, all that stuff. He was on an interview for the MS-13. He goes into the house and they're sacrificing a baby. He's like, wait, I'll kill anyone else, but why are we killing a baby? And they're like, because the beast has told us that we need to do this and we must do what the beast says. And that's when he got out of the gang. And it's like that. It blew my mind when I heard that.
Yeah, because you do some of the biggest spells always was with blood. Like the ones that, and it's just that's why I thought that was odd too. And it's like, what? Only one person
there? Yeah,
and
innocent.
It's like, I said, well, that's interesting. So that was one of those things I found because when you say it and put it out there, oh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
like it should have been way more people shot.
Yeah,
if people's going to be shot, there should have been more than one. I believe, and then the security there. So when I was there, they had security and Secret Service all over the place. And it's like, so what happened that day?
Right.
Like, that's the worst I've ever seen. Like, what? So, stuff is out now.
And they opened up stuff and funneling them in. And
yeah. So it's like, well, hey, it is what it is. And that's where that one, and it's more stuff, but that's the stuff with, that's like, yeah. I have to be super led to talk to specific people about stuff because I'm probably sure people tripping on what I just said now.
Yeah,
and it's like, yeah, just pray and think about it. Like, I mean, and most people's not versed in that stuff. They're not versed in how that world works,
right?
And they just think cults is always country people or just little.
Right.
Like, no, it's if you study the Bible correctly, it's like when you look at the beast system, it comprises of three things: governments, corporations, and religious system. Like, like they call them merchants. And, and then, there's the false prophet and stuff. And then they call it the kings of the earth, which is governments. That's what it is. Those three.
Yeah. And every government, and even the Jewish government at times was operating in the occult. But then every other government around them was also operating in the occult. Was always operating in it. And so,
and coaches mean hidden. So it's like how gangs work too. There's the initiates. There's people who's in the gang and they know they literature and all that.
mm-hmm.
And then there's everybody outside of it. You may see it or whatever, but may not have a full understanding because you're not initiated in the gang or whatever.
Yeah.
Then within that, then there's rank.
Right.
That. So then there's levels of knowledge according to rank.
Right.
And so they distribute it out based on loyalty or whatever, or code, whatever, however they do that, because all systems are different, but it's the same principles. It's just like, they will.
It's a pyramid. No big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you keep your control.
Yeah. Keep them underneath. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's very. Yeah. It's. I was listening to. Or I was talking to some people who were part of a fraternity, and I started uncovering a little bit about. I'm like, well, so tell me about your ritual to get in, and they're like, we're not allowed to talk about it. I'm like, well, I started. Were there candles? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, did you say these things? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, dude, you guys are, it's all around us. It's hidden. They can't talk about it. And it's just, it's a fraternity or whatever. But same with Freemasonry, same with the Illuminati, same with the gang. I mean, you start to see it's the same type of system.
Yeah. Because that was one trick pony.
Yeah.
With this stuff.
Yeah. And the kingdom of God flips a lot of that around. It's not like you have to get your information from the pastor that then disseminates it down to you. Mm-hmm. You have the people at the bottom of the pyramid have direct connection to the information and knowledge. And
that's why some pastors get jealous.
Yeah,
I've seen that when the people have knowledge outside of them or whatever. They lose their mind.
Yeah, why don't I have that?
Yeah, like what? Let's just or the Bible said this, Pastor, but you said. Not the Bible, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as matter of fact, I don't know why that made me think of this, but I was telling my wife like why, like where everybody's losing their mind at on some level, or seem like people's like super delusional. I said there's a phrase that came out that was caused this or triggered this, and she like, what's that? And I said the phrase "my truth," and she like, well, I said think about it. I was like, if it's your truth, that means you're the originator of truth. Whether you mean that consciously or not, what you're saying is that. So by you standing on that, real truth can't penetrate that. And so people will operate in strong delusion because they're rejecting truth because they're walking in their truth.
Yeah.
And people say it all the time and not really realizing the spiritual implication of that phrase.
Yeah, it's very fascinating.
Yeah, and I just told someone about that. And I was like, I never thought of that. And I said, I really didn't think about it either. I wouldn't use it. I thought it was an odd phrase.
Yeah.
And, and I was like, I knew what they was trying to say, but then just one day
I use it for like my own good sometimes, my truth says that you're wrong. You know what I mean? Like you may be telling me something, and I use it as a way to like kind of provoke, because you're right. If you're the author of truth, then there's no truth.
Yeah, because to me, it just came off as people trying to just stand on what they stand on. And, and it's like, yeah, that makes sense. But when you really think about the phrase, because again, I'll do that stuff or can't, and I'm just like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Like, well, to be careful with that one.
Yeah.
Because that's where the danger can come from. It's just like, because some people, they say it, and when they say that, you can't tell nothing, like nothing at all. And when you go lend yourself over to strong delusion, which is a judgment from God, and people don't realize that, like you don't want to know the truth. Let's say he handed them over to strong delusion to believe a lot, and it's like once that's done, it's like
yeah,
you could pray for people still, but it's like they are literally rejected truth, and you can't do nothing with that. Honestly,
it's just banging your head against a wall.
Yeah. Do you have any tissue?
I not down here. We can pause and grab some.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're
all righty. Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, allergies, boy.
Yeah.
It's getting better, though.
Yeah. That doesn't help. It's a little musty down here.
No, it ain't too bad, because if it was real bad, it would have kicked off right away.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So we were an hour in, over an hour.
Yeah.
So it took a little while. So
just to hit in. It's nice, too, because it's been so hot that this is a really cool area of the house. It works out. Yeah. Oh, man, I forget now what we were talking. We were talking about some good stuff, though. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, just... what was that? We was past the DC stuff.
Yeah, talking about Yeah, I don't know. But I'll go back to what you're doing now. Do you see that you're going to be doing this for a while? The kind of, I mean,
yeah, I won't be retiring from doing this.
Yeah.
So I have to move back into the political arena.
Okay.
And that's one of the things I was wrestling with too. So
Yeah.
and because I keep saying I don't have a temperament, but again, like I used to tell guys, like the more you trying to convince God it's not you, is more you convincing them that it's you, because you feel unqualified, and it's like, yeah, that's what qualifies you,
right?
Because you unqualified.
Yeah. Do you think that? I mean, it's just like Moses. You know, I can't speak. I can't do this. And you're the one. You're the one.
Yeah.
Do you think it's that will it be in Elkhart?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
That's why I haven't left.
Right.
If it wasn't for that, I would have been out of here.
Yeah, somewhere a little nicer and.
Yeah, I got that call years ago. So, like in the beginning, like, and of course, my wife and I was like, womp womp.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said, the Holy Spirit said we can't leave. Our ministry is here. I don't want to stay here. Like, well, neither do I.
Yeah.
You act like I want to stay here.
Yeah.
I want to go because I lived in Florida for a little while.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, yeah, it'd be nice to go back to Florida, but nope, that's out. Like, I mean, maybe after the assignment's done, but
right.
As of right
snowbird
now,
in Florida. All right, yeah, you can retire in Florida, right?
Yeah, somewhat.
Yeah.
I said I'll work till I can't move.
Yeah,
well, or retire on paper.
Yeah,
how would the Lord work that out?
Yeah, he'll figure that out.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're in that world right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're seeing probably things that people aren't aware of, just because you're working in government kind of at this moment.
Yeah.
And what would you say, because you're in Elkhart, and Elkhart's really, it's interesting because there's like, you can feel the difference between, I would say, like the haves and the haves not. That's the feeling I get when I'm down. Like it's really opulent in some areas, and then you also feel kind of like, oh, that's one block on one direction, and I'm in a place that just has no funding money whatsoever. There's no hope here in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what would you do for Elkhart?
Well, one of the things,
that's a big question. So.
Yeah, and it's a nuance with that, with the have and have-nots, because I noticed, like, so it all depends on what you look at too. So, like for instance, if I drive through Washington Gardens or the South Side, whatever, and I'm looking, it's like, whether they can actually afford it or not, they drive better cars than I do. Mm-hmm. And working with people over the years and coaching and helping with stuff, especially in Elkhart, a lot of people will mismanage their money.
Mm.
And there's the poor. Like there's the poor because they don't make enough. And that's a whole different thing. And even in that, they don't manage. Like what I was saying when I got the job at Basher and took that huge pay cut, there was a lot of stuff sometimes we looked at like, I don't know how we just paid this stuff or whatever with our money, but there are certain things I still do now. Even though I can afford certain things now, I don't, like the way I buy my clothes, I always buy them out of season. Mm-hmm. Like I don't,
You think through it.
Yeah, and it's just because I manage my money
yeah,
better. And it's like, and one word I got on my vocabulary in a sense is that talking about what I deserve. Like I deserve to go on vacation, and it's like, no, you deserve what you can afford. So I would like to go on vacation, you know, during that time. It's just like, but no, I'm only going to deserve what I can afford.
Yeah.
Like that's it. And so when you look at that, educating, because it takes more than educating the poor. Like they have to figure out why they think, and I work with people do this. They have to figure out why they think the way they think, like, what stuff and how they see money or things, or we used to call it ghetto fabulous. Like people go out and buy a big screen TV, or they will dress in a way for they can look like they're being rich instead of learning how to actually be rich. Kind of do the thing.
Yeah.
And I've seen it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So there's a nuance to that. And then there's the homeless, and watch, when you look at them, a lot of them have addictions and mental health issues. And it's not normally one or the others, normally both, because they self-medicating because of the stuff. So, which I belong to groups and stuff that works with that as well. So we can, whatever you think of, I'm on many boards and many community groups across the county to help look at all of that stuff in a deeper level. So yeah. So, but then again, with the education part, people got to want it, so you can't force it on them.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's more of a, it's those, when you look closer with the have-nots, like a lot of times it's mismanaged. And then when it's not, like, like they're not making enough, then it's just like, okay, like I'll work with people before and it's like, all right, how much you want to make? I said, we're going to reverse engineer this. Like, don't figure out right now how you going to do it. What do you want? How much do you want to survive or whatever that looks like? Once they say that and give a dollar amount, I say, okay, what skill set do you have and what do you have to develop to get that out of the marketplace?
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. Well, like, want to answer that question. It's like it may not be a job. It may just like, but you are working on that. But it had to start with what's in you, your skill set, and what you're willing to develop. Because it's like you'd be surprised once you start down that track of thinking what you actually was pretty good at that you can make money at or whatever.
What you can achieve. Yeah. And then that gives them a plan, at least, a direction to head.
Yep.
As opposed to just like, I'm stuck here.
Yeah, because that's what you'll find a lot. It's like, I'm just stuck. I'm just like, I know it's easy to say get unstuck, but, you know,
right.
if it was that easy, everybody get unstuck.
Yeah.
It's like you have to figure out, and that's what I'll do. I try to open up their thought process. It's like stop thinking closed and start thinking open or, you know, waiting on somebody to give you opportunity. Like what I teach my kids, you will create more opportunity that you will find. And I was like, so you create it.
Right.
You know, so.
And it starts to be attracted to what you're doing and you're putting it out there and it just builds momentum.
Yep.
What do you think the biggest obstacle that you're going to have to overcome in Elkhart or Elkhart has to overcome? It could be, I mean, on any level.
Well, in a general sense, Elkhart needs to overcome being rigid. And they are doing that, actually. Like, I will joke about this, like Elkhart lack creativity. Just flat out. Like, it just, and it's cool because you need managers, so to speak. Like, you need somebody, you need the people to create something. And with creative people, they can create it, but they're not going to manage it.
Right.
So then you need to manage what they created. So what I noticed with Elkhart a little bit is more managers than anything. And so now it's kind of balancing out. Like, you know, that's what I noticed. And it took me years to figure this out. It's like I noticed whenever Elkhart or something was new, that's when I was asked to come because I'm creative. I'm not a manager. I'm not. Like, that's why I surround myself with managers. Right. Because I'm not. I get somebody with me that's like, because I need that. I can do it. I have the intellect, but it's not really my skill set. Yeah. So I would get somebody.
You can do the book work, but you don't want to do the book work. Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
I'm the creative type. I'm the visionary. I create the vision. So, and Elkhart they're getting better. They're improving on that. But yeah, it's just, it's like analysis paralysis. Like, it's just, but yeah, they didn't came a long way. Like, so you starting to see, like, the bands and stuff, like a lot of stuff they do in Goshen that, you know, now you see in Elkhart having the bands and being more, you know, lightening up some, I guess, for lack of a better term. Like,
let's have some fun and enjoy life a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, work hard and play hard.
Yeah. I have a couple friends who are rappers in Elkhart, and so they'll go. They've been invited to a bunch of things like Rhapsody and Green, and there's stuff that happens downtown. And
that's
stuff.
cool.
So
yeah,
it's cool to see. But they would even say for the most time they would be going to South Bend or Goshen to do the shows, and so now it's starting to happen in Elkhart, which is. Yeah, it's very cool to see that.
Yeah, and I noticed some of the shift is some more people's coming from out of town and working in certain spots. And I noticed where that happens, it started to shift a little bit.
Gotcha.
So I was like, okay,
yeah,
I'll take a note of that.
New life here and there, and mix things up a bit too.
Yeah, and it's cool
perspectives.
To watch.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Man.
Yeah, because great, like especially me, like again, that's why I have the balance when I will help people develop teams. And it's so easy to just always get somebody that's just like you. And that's why even with me, even with political stuff, as I'm talking to people, as I'm gathering my team for political stuff, even the last time I ran, I always found my opposite, like, with stuff. to challenge me because I need people to cover my blind spots.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to be biased and stuff. And it's just like, so I would have people. So even though I was running as a Republican, like I'm really like rather be an independent, but you know how that
You
goes.
can't. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was running as a Republican, but one of the people on my team was like literally the opposite liberal. And we would be off each other. But it's like I needed that. I needed to hear another perspective. And whether I agree with some of the stuff or not, it's beside the point. I just need it.
To know, because it helps you make with the calculations. Helps you think through everything.
Yep.
Yeah. Is Elkhart pretty conservative, like Republican, or is it kind of Democrat, or like what's the Democrat? I mean, I'm not really familiar. Goshen's
Culture-wise, it's more, I would say it's more conservative.
That's just the Midwest in one way, you know, across the board. But yeah.
Yeah. So, and there's degrees to that. Of course, for anything, everything's on the spectrum.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, yeah. And trying to help people maneuver through that at times. Because, again, they can have a tendency not to be creative. But if you can articulate outcomes with certain things, then they're like, oh, okay. That makes sense. Or, okay. Like, yeah, this is what happened. So, like what I would try to explain is like, don't explain stuff with feeling words. Like, so when I work in law enforcement, like I don't use feeling words.
Really?
No. Just no. I use tactical words because that's their world. Like it's like,
when you're talking to law enforcement. Yeah.
Like it's when you know your audience. It's like, so if somebody's a manager type or engineering or whatever, like you gotta don't even touch feelings.
Yeah.
You have to have strategy and all that stuff. You need to know the language. Now,
give them the blueprint.
Yeah.
That'll be good. Not, I want it to feel like this. It needs to feel blue. And it's like, okay, well,
I don't know.
Am I building something, or am I painting something, or what do you want? No, it just needs to feel blue. Just whatever you feel like. That would be
that.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Yeah, and it's like, and so when you deal with activists, it's feeling words.
Yeah. Feeling words. Yeah, only because that's the emotion. They're feeling on the emotions.
Yeah, and me, honestly, people don't believe this when I say it, but I'm more of a high thinker. Even though I'm creative, I have that openness, but I'm really a more high thinker than feelings. I just know how to leverage feelings if I had to, but that is not my go-to at all.
Right.
And it's in that way, people, I don't know why people think it's strange, but it's like, I have empathy.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, but I'm very like,
yeah, here's the blueprint, here's the structure, go at it. That's wild.
I can change on a dime. That's where the openness come in at. Like I'm not, like I said, I'm married to the goal, not the plan. Like if the plan is going and is going south, I'll course correct like on a dime. Yeah. So
you want to get the thing accomplished.
Yep.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. I totally track with that. You got to be fluid, you know, because it's like life is going to throw stuff at you.
Yeah.
And you just got to keep moving and just kind of roll with it a little bit. And if you are so strict, but you also, if you leave, you know, I've heard it that a goal is like a map. You know, you may leave your harbor and a ship heading to something, but if you don't have a map, who knows how you're going to get to the spot. A goal at least it's not going to tell you you're going to get there, but at least you have, okay, I know if I go past this rock, then I'm halfway there and I can go to this. And once I see that town, that map helps you determine if you're going to reach your, so having that goal, if you don't have a goal, then you're just like, I'm going to try to get to this town. We'll see if I get there without a map, So, it's interesting.
Yeah. That's what's so crazy about when you look to when Jesus said, I'm the Alpha and Omega. Mm-hmm. But if you say it in the Greek, like Aleph Tav, and then if you look at the Paleo Hebrew, when you say it in Hebrew, Aleph Tav, and when you look at the Paleo Hebrew, it's like pictographs. So Aleph is ox head.
Okay.
And Tav is like it's an X.
Okay.
Mark. So in agriculture, what that is saying is that when you plant a field to keep your line straight, you plant something far ahead to aim at, and then as you plowing with the oxen, that's what help you keep your line straight. So,
gotcha.
So that's when he's like, I'm the Aleph Tav. It's more than just the beginning and the end. It's like, I'm literally, I'm the roadmap to keep you straight. This is the thing to keep you straight.
Yeah.
Hit your
and
target.
The ox is going to go a little around, but I'm aiming right here. That's fascinating.
Yeah. So Paleo Hebrew is incredible when you study that level of Hebrew language.
Yeah. That is, and it probably opens up a lot of things too.
Oh, yeah. because it simplifies it.
Yeah.
It really simplified.
Wow. It brings the depth of stuff too that people are probably not aware of.
Yeah, it makes the Bible makes more sense in a lot of ways because the Hebrew language is totally different than Greek. And even in thought process, it's not. So like Greek is more abstract and Hebrew is concrete. Like So example is like if you have a pen, and in Greek, you're just like, what does this do? You hold it and you'll say what it does. Like, what is this? And you're like, oh, you're right with it, and we'll describe, like
the feel and the
basically
texture.
It's like, well, yeah, and it's green and it's whatever. So Hebrew, they don't describe what it looks like; they describe what it does. Like in ancient Hebrew, like you write with or whatever. They don't never. That's why, when you hear people arguing about what Jesus looked like, whatever, they don't really describe because it doesn't matter what he looks like. That's all Greek thinking. Is what he did. That's what stuff does.
That's the important part.
Yeah, it's like, it had nothing to do with that. It's just all Hebrew thought is concrete. What it does.
This green thing that's 4 inches long and it has a weight of this and it does this but it's like this is a pen. That's the thing.
You write with it. That's
you write
it.
with it. Yeah, that is really
Yeah. It's an interesting study.
Yeah, I'm reading through. I got Septuagint, which is the Old Testament but translated to Greek, and so that's funny because there's times when they're really describing stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay, all right. But then some of the times it's like it's really cool to kind of see what this is 400 years before Christ was around, so this is the still old stuff that they're translating to Greek.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
Yeah,
like we can do a whole nother show on that sometime.
I gotta get you and my dad on and just have a fun time. I have a blast talking to my dad and picking his brain on things.
Yeah, I love that stuff. Yeah. It just because it's so interesting because it's the culture part I love about it.
Yeah,
with the language, it's just like, well, no wonder I don't understand that farmer stuff. I'm a city boy,
right?
When you go study, and it's like, okay,
yeah,
that's what Jesus. I don't know what an olive press is. I just buy it at the store.
Yeah,
and how that works. But when you look at it, like, so that's why Jesus said that, or that's why he was in the Garden of the Gethsemane in the olive press, Like I said, now it all makes sense. I live in Elkhart, not
not in Jerusalem.
Yeah, like what?
Yeah, 2,000 years ago. Yeah. Culture is a very important piece of the puzzle, and you start learning. That's some of the stuff that I've been reading Egyptian mythology as well as Greek mythology, and I think those add layers and levels of information. Like, the Egypts believe these levels of gods and how that they all worked, and so then when you're reading Exodus and they're leaving Egypt, God's just like smacking all their gods one after another, and walks up the totem pole basically, and it hits the top one at the end. You're like, dude, that's so sick.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Why he did everything specifically to deal with each god, each Egyptian god.
The Egyptians, man, they were so tuned into things that we have not even thought about as a culture here today now. Like the spirit world, the afterlife, all those things. Like we talk about death and we don't even no one talks about death other than someone died.
I think the Egyptian, they suppressed that knowledge with Egypt stuff on purpose, because I'm like, okay, where Egypt is, like, why they got Egyptology? Like, why is that separate? Like, it's separate from everything surrounding it.
Wow.
They're just like, this is.
There's no Greekology, there may be, but
yeah,
there's no Italiantology, right, or Frenchology, right? It's Egyptian. Yeah.
I think they just they could be suppressing stuff or whatever. I mean, because when you look at the mystery religions, a lot of stuff tied back to.
Comes back
Egypt.
to Egypt. Yeah. The pyramid right there, just at that level. Yeah.
Like Sirius, the dog star, all of that stuff. It's just like.
I love it. We got to do another one. We were just talking about Egypt and some of that stuff.
Sure enough. So. Like I said, it's been a while. I love to go through all that, do a deep dive sometime in the future.
Yeah. We should set something up. Give some time to think about it, because it's the thing about anytime you get into some of that stuff is it's so much. It's just like so much. I mean, when I'm just looking at the gods, there's thousands of them. The same with like the Roman and the Greek gods. It's just thousands of them. Because and I think they're describing spiritual entities. And it's just like, well, I really don't know if I care about this one that's 2,000th down the line. It's kind of nice to know the top ones.
Yeah,
I think those are still. They're probably all still operating, but those seem to be the more like the top, the generals, at that point. But yeah, it's just, you can get real lost in some of that stuff. It's the same with the Bible. I could spend so much time on the Bible. So you want to pick on what's good stuff, but it's fun kind of adding to all that.
Yep, because they'll realize like they was talking about that stuff in the Bible actually, and just kind of glossed over it.
Yeah,
like so.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, and the cultures that they're in really adds to the story of the time. Like they're in a Greek culture and when Jesus is around, and they're dealing with stuff in a Roman culture. So what's that life like a little bit?
Yep, and why did he pick that time to do it? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
And they had an elaborate road system. So it's like, perfect time for the gospel to get out because they create the whole road system. Like just stuff you just don't, I don't even know how I remember that. But
it's like
reading all that stuff.
Perfect timing for all the, it's cool.
Yeah.
Well, we should wrap it up. We've done an hour and a half.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. Remind me of this. Like, go back to cover something that's in United Nations, and I'll probably hit on this after we get off. But,
okay.
There's something with Alice A. Bailey. You go to and the reason why I don't want to say it now because I can't really remember what it's called because I'm kind of refreshing on it.
Yeah.
But it's another teacher, core esoteric teacher, and it's on the United Nations website. It's not even a secret.
It's on what's it called?
That's what I'm trying to remember.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we'll look at it after. I'd love
seven rays.
7 rays.
Yeah.
It's on the UN website, United Nations website.
7 rays. Look it up.
Okay. Oh, I dig it. Adrian, man, thank you so much for coming on. This has been a blast.
Me,
just I really appreciate you telling your story, and it's cool. There's the guy that's placed you in all these different things, and it's like he's building and building and building, and it's awesome. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah. Do you have anything you want to plug? Like people can go to this website or wherever this is your time to let people know how to connect with you or to find you or follow you or whatnot.
Well,
if you don't want them to, that's fine too.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm got a random Instagram. It's called Social Keys.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's random. Like, I mean, because I'm all over the place in my mind, actually. It's just random stuff.
I love
it's just where I dump everything off at.
Okay.
So there's no rhyme or reason to it.
Yeah. Actually, Social Keys. I'll find it and I'll plug it in the show notes so people can click on it.
Yeah. So if people can suggest stuff or I mean, I could take it where if people's interested, but really I just use it to like it's jokes, is quotes, is whatever. Food, fashion.
That's awesome.
Yep, it's just a mental dumping ground. I need to clean it up, but why?
Yeah. They're good memories. What was the bike shop again?
Ray's Southside Bike Shop.
Ray's Southside Bike Shop. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll plug that too so people can go get some bikes.
Yep. And hopefully anybody want to be a volunteer to do we need a bike mechanic right now. So
okay. That's awesome.
Yeah. So anybody want to do that, give me a holler.
Hit up Rick Yoder. Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's
I
a
was
biker.
supposed to get a hold of him actually.
Yeah.
About something else.
Yeah. Good dude. Very cool. And I know you said you were doing a podcast. Are you still doing that anymore, or is that kind of?
Probably might. When I come back on, I'll cover it more then.
Okay.
That was it's called Hope for the Heart. There's, that's actually under Social Keys YouTube.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah. So
awesome. Yeah, I'll put some of that stuff. So if anyone wants to find those things, they can.
Okay.
Cool.
All right.
Adrian, dude, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
My pleasure, brother.
All right, see you guys.